Who's ready for some controversy? I know I am. I've been wanting to do one of these for the longest time. I love Fallout. I love the DLCs, most of them anyway. Maybe, like me, you've been watching the Fallout TV show and you just want to get right back into Fallout again. That's what I'm doing. I've been playing all the games again, playing all the DLCs, and I think it's time I did an official ranking. Now, obviously, these are just my opinion. You know, you can argue, you can say that I'm wrong, you can say that I'm really, really stupid, and you'd probably be right. But at the end of the day, if you've got a different opinion, I'd love to read it. You're probably going to disagree. That's the way the world works, baby. Let's do this. First up, we've got Broken Steel, the third DLC released for Fallout 3. I mean, it shouldn't really have been a DLC, should it? I mean, it should have just been in the game. It increased the level cap from 20 to 30. It completely changed the ending of the game, the stupid ending that everyone hated. Added a load of perks for the new levels, some new weapons like the Tri-Beam, I think the Tesla Cannon as well. There were some new enemies, I think the Enclave, Hellfires, the Super Mutant Overlords. So, I mean, it was alright. You finished Project Purity. There was a few new locations, but it should have been in the game. I mean, it was fine. I'd probably go B tier, I think. Next up is the second DLC in Fallout 3, the Pitt, set in Pittsburgh. I mean, it was a fairly decent DLC. It was more morally heavy. There was a few more choices in it that made you think. You start off by meeting someone called Werner. He was actually the former right-hand man to the main protagonist, Asher, who rules the Pit. He tells you that he needs your help to get the cure for a disease that's turning people into trogs. Early versions of spore carriers, pretty much, so, I mean, we all know what they're like. The Lone Wanderer masquerades as a slave to enter the Pit. There's some interesting characters and quests, I think the most infamous being the collecting of 100 steel bars. The cure, in the end, to Trog's disease turns out to be Asher's baby, Marie. It's here that the moral dilemma kind of kicks in. You can either choose to eat the baby, kidnap the baby and let Werner take control, or side with Asher and kill Werner, so Asher can kind of keep developing a cure. There were some decent weapons like the auto axe, and I think more importantly the perforator. I think overall it was a very good DLC. I enjoyed most of it. Whenever I play Fallout 3 again, I tend to jump right back in, so I'd probably put it at A tier. I think I did enjoy it. I like the dark kind of tone around the game as well, so yeah. Point Lookout, set in Maryland, I think. Fourth DLC in Fallout 3. I don't have a lot of love for this DLC. It was fine. I think going back and playing it now, I've probably enjoyed it more than when I played it in the past. Basically, there was two pre-war scientists that have been fighting for ages, Desmond and Professor Calvert, and it's your job to team up with one of them to destroy the other. The quests are pretty decent. You get high once or twice from what I remember. There's a crazy cult. They worship a book called the Cribbener. They worship a book, right? There's not really much of a good ending in this one. Not too much of a moral choice. There's just more of a not bad ending, if that makes sense. Calvert's just a prick, and you should probably kill him. Again, weapons, they're fine. There was the backwater rifle, which was quite good. The microwave emitter, which was like the final gun of the DLC, I thought was pretty crap, to be honest. I don't remember getting lost in the story too much, but maybe I need to go back and play it again. I just don't have too much of a desire to do it. For me, it's bordering C, but it was open world enough. There was a decent amount to explore. I think the story was fine. I'm probably going to go for B. I'll go for B tier on that one, why not? Operation Anchorage, the first DLC for Fallout 3. I hate this DLC. I hate it. I dread playing it every time. I feel no connection to the story whatsoever. For me, the idea of a simulation DLC that has no meaning to the real world of Fallout, I just couldn't care less. I couldn't care less at all. The long story short, the outcasts, they need access to an armory in a pre-war bunker. It can only be accessed by someone with a Pip-Boy who can do the simulation based on the Battle of Anchorage in Alaska. The simulation is full of like American propaganda. I'd maybe care a little bit more if it was meant to be a true account or like a true story, but it's not, so I don't care. You fight your way through it, blah blah blah, finish the simulation. It's just a point and shoot. There's no looting, there's no real skill, I don't think, no survivability. It's just pick up a gun, shoot some people, go to the end. I wasn't bothered about the story whatsoever. Eventually you access the armory. I think a few of the outcasts turn on you, stage a mutiny. There's no real choice. You just kill them, and that's it. You can kind of just pretend the DLC never even happened as soon as you finished with it. The only thing that's good is the winterized T-51B armor and the Gauss rifle. But, okay, the armor's invincible, but there's so much more in the rest of the game. You don't need those two things at all. For me, this is D tier. I don't think it gets much worse than that, if I'm honest. Mothership Zeta. This one's probably not going to go too well. I actually really love this DLC. I don't know, it might be a bit controversial. I know it's got some love and some hate, but for me it's one of the better ones. I think minding your own business and getting beamed up to an alien spaceship where you have to work with like wacky characters to escape, one of which being like a Japanese samurai from the 1500s who doesn't speak a word of English, which I think is quite a funny touch. I think that's quite a cool concept. The voice recording around the ship are pretty funny and interesting. I love how everything is like completely new assets. It's a new feel for Fallout 3. The new weapons were completely overpowered. I think this was the last DLC for Fallout 3, which does make sense. I mean, if you were to go to this DLC at the beginning of the game and pick up any of the weapons, and I mean whether it's the disintegrator, the captain's sidearm, or probably the most insane weapon, the drone cannon, you could probably beat the entire game with just these, or just one of them, to be completely honest. I think the characters are okay. I don't think they're too well built on. Sally, the girl, is pretty good. I can't remember the name of the woman, Sama or something like that, but I think those two were the only ones that were really fleshed out at all. The rest of the characters are, yeah, whatever, you know, you could leave them out. But for me, I had so much fun playing this game. My heart's telling me to go S tier, if I'm completely honest, but I know that's not right. The game's not perfect. I'm going to go A tier. Like I say, there's not a lot of character development. I like the story. Maybe they were a little bit limited with it being on a spaceship. It was pretty linear, but for me, they did a decent job. It's an A for me. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. I know you will. Moving on to Fallout 4, we've got the Automatron DLC. I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's fairly short. I'm not a massive lover of it. Every time I encounter Ada, the robot, on a new Fallout 4 run, I genuinely just kind of ignore her. I'm just not that captivated by this DLC, and I know it wasn't like a full masterpiece with loads of guns and shit to do, but I still think it probably could have been better. I didn't care for the Mechanist, the whole idea. The big thing for this DLC was creating your own robots, which was pretty cool. I mean, I never really bothered with it too much. I think it got boring quite quickly. It's definitely not the worst DLC in the world. I mean, there were some good things added to it. The questline was okay. The Mechanist was okay. I'm pretty sure it introduced the Tesla T60 armor as well, so that's cool, I guess. I don't know, man. Probably C tier for me. The Wasteland Workshop and the Contraptions Workshop, it's the second and fourth DLC respectively. Not really that much of DLC, just a little add-on, two things that I just have no care for whatsoever. They more just focus on settlement items, cages, conveyor belts, stuff like that. And I'm sure that there'll be people out there that are very happy with it, but for me, these are, unfortunately, bottom of the barrel. If they weren't in the game, I wouldn't give a shit whatsoever, so they're D. For me, for you, you might love building elaborate traps and making arenas in your settlement, but for me, nah. The Vault-Tec Workshop add-on, again, it's another settlement-focused DLC. This one adds a little bit more short quests and the chance to build your own vault that people can live in. I think that's okay. I've messed around with it a little bit, but again, I think if it wasn't in the game, I don't think I'd be too upset. Short and sweet, I think this one goes in C tier. Could maybe go up to B, but that's probably being a little too generous. Again, people have probably built really cool vaults and love it, but for me, C tier's just where it belongs, just there. Far Harbor, the third DLC for Fallout 4. Oh baby, let's fucking go. I like to imagine that most of you that have played this DLC know exactly what tier this is going in. From what I've seen from the community, this is probably one of the most highly regarded DLCs in all of the franchise. Set in the coastal town of Maine, Far Harbor, it's dark, it's dingy, it's got like this small element of horror to it. It's such like a welcome tone shift to the rest of Fallout 4. I love Nick Valentine, so having a whole DLC based on some detective work with him, I just think that's like awesome. There's so many great characters. I love practically all of the side quests and the main quest. Hell, I don't even mind like the Dima's memory quest, you know, the bad one. It doesn't take long. It gives access to some of the best armor in the game, the marine armor. I do think it's probably hated a little bit too much. I get why people don't like it, don't get me wrong. It can be pretty fucking boring, but yeah, you rush through it, just get it done, it's fine. For me, this DLC could be like its own game. There's so much to do, so many people to talk to, so much new armor and weapons. I think to the assault on Dragon Keep in Borderlands 2, how that became Wonderlands. If they made a Far Harbor game, I'd buy it. In a heartbeat, I would. I think it's brilliant. I think one of the biggest thing about this as well is like the new enemies. You've got the anglers, the gulpers, fog crawlers, and then like all of their variants underneath that. They smashed this DLC out the park. You get to make a huge decision for the fate of Far Harbor. I love the moral choice. It feels like it really makes a difference, and this DLC had it. I've never really been more sure of an S tier, I don't think. For me, that is one of the best, if not maybe the best they've ever done. Nuka-World, I mean, okay, I'm not sure where to put this one, to be completely honest. I've had a rough idea about all the other ones, but Nuka-World is a weird one. It's the last DLC in Fallout 4. I think the idea of it is really quite cool. I love the idea of a DLC being set at Nuka-World. I just don't really give a shit about working with raiders. I'd say 80% of my runs are morally good runs, which means I have a small, like tiny little issue with becoming a raider and fucking killing everyone in the Commonwealth. There is the option for the open season questline where you just kind of fucking kill all the raiders, but it does feel as though the DLC is incomplete after that. I actually really enjoyed my first playthrough of the DLC. I don't give too much of a shit about Preston Garvey, so him hating me isn't really a big issue for me. There's some pretty decent weapons, definitely some decent quest lines, but I don't know, most of the DLC just feels like a fetch quest after you've done it 2 or 3 times. Some of the new enemies are quite cool. I mean, the cave crickets can fuck off, but other than that, I enjoyed myself. It's not a banger DLC. It's not got anything on Far Harbor, but it's still okay. I'm not rushing back to play it, but I suppose if I'm ever in the area, I'd probably play it again. I'd enjoy it for the most part. I'm probably going to go for B. It's a decent size. Quests are alright. It could go C. It could go high C. I'm gonna go for low B. I think if Point Lookout there, then I think Nuka-World has to go there as well, unfortunately. The Gunrunner's Arsenal and the Courier's Stash, these were the last DLC / add-ons for Fallout New Vegas. They were just small add-ons that don't really offer a lot. Courier's Stash was just everything from the pre-order bundle, starts you off with a few packs to help you out. The Caravan Pack, the Tribal Pack for example, they give you a couple guns to start the game off, but other than that, who actually cares? It was cheap, I think it was like £2 when it came out. Both of them were like £2 each. So, I mean, Courier stash is probably D tier, doesn't really do a lot. I mean, it's cheap, so maybe C tier. Gunrunner's Arsenal, it adds a little bit more, not loads, but it's all about guns. It gives you loads more guns, challenges, a couple more perks, and a few more mods. I might be wrong about the perks thing though, if I'm honest. Some other weapons are pretty fun. The two-step goodbye, sleepy time, the bazaar, the hyperbreeder alpha. There's loads of guns, to be fair. I do enjoy it. It probably breaks the balance of the game a little bit, but that might just be because I've played it 9 million times, and at that point it's kind of easy to know what you're doing. I'd probably stick it in B, but then again, it could maybe be C. I think B is pretty safe. Can I put Gunrunner's Arsenal alongside Nuka-World though? Probably not. I'm probably going to go a high C tier for Gunrunner's Arsenal. Yeah, no, that'll do. Coming now into the final stretch, we've got Honest Hearts. It's the second DLC, Fallout New Vegas, set in Zion. It's a new feel to Fallout. It's more mountainous, there's a river running through, it's bright, the weather's good. Well, the way the weather looks is good. When it rains, stuff like that is pretty cool. You have the two main tribes, the Sorrows and the Dead Horses, led by Joshua Graham, the Burned Man, and another man called Daniel. There's a Legion-affiliated tribe called the White Legs who are trying to take over, and it boils down to just whether you want to help the tribes fight or flee. There's a little bit of moral dilemma in this DLC. You can corrupt the mind of the tribes into violence, but again, I never really cared too much about the ending. In fact, I think I've always sided with Joshua Graham in fighting back the White Legs. It's a decent DLC. I think the best part of it is the survivalist side story that goes on through terminal entries and holotapes. Genuinely, it's a very interesting and emotional story that it's just kind of in the background of the DLC. You get to see how he became the father in the caves, to then seeing and understanding his death and receiving the survivalist rifle, all of which can be quite easily missed, to be fair, whilst you complete the whole DLC. I am going to give it a B. I would probably give it a C if it wasn't for the survivalist, if I'm being completely honest. So, well done, Randall Clark, or whatever the hell his name was. I am also just going to move these up in order, because I think Operation Anchorage is the lowest of the low. There we go, that's a bit better. Lonesome Road was the fourth and final major DLC in Fallout New Vegas. It's one of the more difficult DLCs in all of Fallout. The Courier's trek into the Divide finally takes them face to face with Ulysses. Ulysses is a bit ambiguous. He basically talks in riddles throughout the entire fucking DLC, but I think once you understand it a little bit, the story gets a little bit easier to follow. Essentially, Ulysses watched the Courier deliver a package to the Divide that activated the old missile system, completely destroyed his home, and Ulysses believes that you're to blame for all the damage, whether you did it unknowingly or not, whatever. It's a fairly linear DLC, but there's still room for some exploration. I think the enemies, the Marked Men, they're kitted out to the nines in this DLC. And it works as the last one because the amount of money you can make in this DLC is quite frankly ridiculous. But I do think it offers quite good endgame content. It adds some decent weapons, some very good armors. I think the final decision of the DLC on whether to nuke the NCR, the Legion, both of them, or neither of them, is quite a fun moral decision, and by now I think we know how much I enjoy them. Ultimately, nuking both of them opens up new areas in the Mojave with more weapons and armor at the cost of some reputation, and I am a pretty big fan of this DLC. I think it offers a good challenge. I do like how it's not a complete cakewalk. I think for me it's probably A tier. I'd probably put it over the Pitt, I think. I think it offers a good challenge. So, yeah, I look forward to this DLC when I replay Fallout, and I think it's a good final climax for all of the DLCs, if I'm honest. Old World Blues, the third major DLC in Fallout New Vegas. Again, I'm not actually sure where to put this one. It's set in the Big Empty. You're lobotomized by some of the most wacko scientists still alive from before the Great War because they stuck their crazy brains in floating jars. There's a lot of talking and story development in this DLC, and I mean a lot of talking, which, to be honest, I don't mind. I know it grates on some people, but I find most of it fairly engaging. The idea is to get your brain back from Dr. Mobius. The think tank want you to retrieve technology for them and help fix their failed experiments, and it turns out that Dr. Mobius isn't actually a villain or crazy. Well, maybe a little bit. But he's actually trying to keep the think tank contained in the big empty research crater so they can't basically destroy the rest of the world with their stupid experiments. All of the New Vegas DLCs tie in with each other really quite well. I think Ulysses has visited all of the places that you visit, and I think Old World Blue's story probably does the most in terms of story progression. There's some nice Easter eggs, terminal entries linking the DLCs, so they did that quite well. Again, it adds some fairly decent weapons, the LAER probably being the best of them, but I enjoy Fido and the X2 antenna. I enjoy upgrading the player home, the sync with the different personalities. The dialogue is all pretty funny, but I don't know, I'm just never that excited to play the DLC, and I don't know what it is about it, but maybe after playing it once, the dialogue can get a bit tedious.
And are those penises I see wriggling on its feet? Disgusting.
I think it's better than Honest Arts, but it's probably not an A for me. It's high B. Very high B. Yeah, it's high B. I'm happy with that. Dead Money. Last but not least, the first DLC for Fallout New Vegas, and this, by far, for me, is the best DLC in Fallout New Vegas, or in any of the Fallouts, and I cannot believe how split the fan base is on this DLC. I love it so fucking much. Sometimes I play Fallout New Vegas just to go back to this DLC. I love the survival element to it. I love that it's not easy. I love the setting, the characters. I think the story is fantastic. I mean, a casino heist, what's not to love? I understand why people might not like this DLC. The radios, the ghost people, the red mist, the bomb collars. But for me, those are all reasons why I love this DLC more. Starting with nothing but a jumpsuit and a hollow rifle. Goated gun, by the way. And then just having to get resupplied and loot around to survive, I think that's brilliant. I really do. Similar to Far Harbor, I do think there's a very good horror element to this DLC. I think the ghost people are really quite creepy. I don't like them at all, in the sense that I don't enjoy fighting them because they scare me, like a little child, you know? I love the relationship between the Courier and the other characters. I think the god and dog split dynamic is really, really cool. Christine is pretty cool. Elijah, big fan. Dean Domino, he's a bit of a dick, but I mean, I still love him. I think there is probably one or two negatives about this DLC. I think a minor one for me is that it can be too dark. It's not the end of the world, but I think that can be a little bit annoying. But I think the biggest problem that I can see with this DLC is just how overpowered you can be after completing it. Again, that probably comes from playing it so many times that I just know how to get the absolute maximum out of this DLC, but when you're sneaking out with those gold bars and you've just broke the bank on blackjack, you've got the machine codes for all the ammo, stim packs, doctor's bags, you're pretty much set for the whole game. I think if they had done this DLC maybe third before Lonesome Road, I would understand that a little bit more, but I mean, I'm nitpicking, by the way, because for me, this is an absolute solid S tier for me. Like I say, between Dead Money and Far Harbor, for me, they're the best DLCs. Which one of them goes first? For me, it's probably Dead Money. I think that's probably a bit stupid to say. Far Harbor is almost certainly better, but for me, Dead Money's my favourite. So that's it. That's the ranking. I'm pretty happy with that. You know, everyone has their own opinions on these DLCs. There's no right answer. I'd love to see what you guys think. Leave me a comment. Let me know how stupid I am, how fucking wrong I am. But yeah, thanks for watching. Now, go play Fallout, please.